try out the coaching thing. I want to see what I can do with that, and I want to try it in the NBA ranks. Like I want to try going to the going to the league and trying to move my way up and do
Mhm.
whatever they ask me to do. Right, like coach and work guys out, rebound, wipe the floor if they need me
We go to AutoZone, get a saw, and cut my cut my cast off in the parking lot.
in the parking lot. People are going to be tuned
Yeah.
in because of the. I mean, it's you can be an Iowa fan, you can be an Iowa State fan, you could be a Drake fan, UNI fan, whatever. Like people still like it's an Iowa State. Like people are gonna watch Iowa. You know what I mean?
Our guest, former Iowa Hawkeye, current Teed Up podcast host and aspiring coach, Connor McCaffery. Our host, punter Strait. Welcome to this week's episode of Rise&Prosper. Welcome back to another episode, but the first official episode of the new name, Rise&Prosper. Again, if you don't know about that, go to social medias at DBD Studios on Instagram. But yep, from now on, this segment will be under Rise&Prosper. Same type of interviews, same type of guests, that type of stuff. Still trying to dig deep, find out about people, but could no longer use that name. Just want to remind everyone to please like, comment, and subscribe for those of you watching on YouTube. Can't tell you how much that helps grow the channel. Turn on the post notifications so you know when new posts are coming out on the channel. And another big announcement, I'd like to announce that Rise&Prosper is now out on all podcast formats, basically. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, Audible, wherever you get your podcasts. We are now available there, so that is big. So, let your dads, let your moms, let your uncles, let your aunts know. For all those that are listening to podcasts rather than watching it on YouTube, they're now available there. This week, we have a very special guest. We have a former Iowa Hawkeye, former Iowa City West legend, former top 100 recruit, just an overall great guy. Gotten to know him a lot more over the past few years. A great basketball mind. Very excited to have him. Now, enough from me. Let's get into the episode. Start with that. What did you have surgery on?
I had surgery on my wrist, so I tore some stuff like during the season during the Wisconsin game,
Okay.
like early on in December when we were playing at home, and then I got like some shots and stuff, keep playing. And it just like after the season, I was trying to take it easy. I was hoping it would get better and it just didn't, it just never got better. So I got like, some MRIs and stuff and it showed, I had some torn stuff, but it's not bad. I mean, I'm in this for 2 weeks. So I've actually already been in it for like a week and a half. So I get it off in a couple of days and then I go to a splint from there. And then I think I'm back. Like, I want to say like June 29th is the date they had for me to be like done with everything. So
That's not too bad, I guess. I mean,
no, it's not bad. It's like I think it says like 2 months for the whole like recovery and everything, like 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks, and I should be fine. So
uh,
it's really not bad.
yeah, I remember I kind of did a same type of thing. It was earlier on, like when I was in elementary school, broke my wrist, and it sucked at the time because obviously you want to play, you want to just be doing stuff,
Right.
have an inconvenience. But yeah, I mean, it ended up only being a month and a half, 2 months. Ended up
Yeah.
cutting. That's a whole nother story. I cut. We were at an AAU tournament, and I was supposed to get my cast off on the Monday before like that weekend, or like the
Yeah.
month after that weekend. So we went to the doctor and we're like, hey, like, can we get it cut off? Like, he wants to play. Like, it's what, 3 days? Like, what's it gonna do? They're like, no,
Yeah.
he's got to keep it on. He's got to keep it on, whatever. And so we go to the tournament, and we only had like 6 players, and like we lost just because they got tired. And I was like, damn, like I should be out there, man. Like I wish I could be playing. And
Yeah.
one of the parents, it was when I played for the Attack for the summer. I was in third grade, and one of the parents goes, I can get that saw off for you. My wife's a nurse. I can do that for sure.
Oh God.
Yep. And my mom goes, really? And he was like, yeah, for sure, I can get that. And uh, so we go to AutoZone, get a saw, and cut my cut my cast off in the parking lot.
In the parking lot? Damn. What
Yeah.
happened? Did
I,
it get screwed up, or
no, I
was it
mean
fun?
he got cutting into it and realized he goes, this is a little harder than I thought. He really didn't know what he was doing.
Like,
But
a
so my
tough,
mom's sitting there like, okay, be careful then. We ended up getting
right?
off, and I like couldn't. It was my right, so I basically just played lefty the whole time. Couldn't barely even
Yeah,
my right, but yeah, no, that was a that was a funny experience.
that's a
Um,
big. That's like some serious third grade basketball dedication,
didn't even know him either. Didn't even know.
right?
Like,
Yeah,
like
So
just joined the
random.
team. I was like in his car, like I'm going to get a saw with this dude. This is kind of sketch. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but, I mean, it ended up being all right. But let's kind of get into this.
No, thanks for having me on, man. I'm excited.
Man, obviously, had your brother on last week. We had a good conversation, talked a lot about mental health and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited. We were planning on doing this earlier in the year, but I've been slacking hard on the YouTube stuff, so I'm just kind of trying to ramp it back up.
Me too. I've been slacking too. I kind of like I know we were talking about it. I was excited, and then I kind of forgot, and then but now I'm chilling. So then when you hit me, I was like, oh, for sure, let's do
Yeah,
it.
100%. Kind of first thing I want to get into is your podcast. So, um, you guys, I just kind of wanted to start off with just like how did it kind of come about? Because it wasn't just obviously you and your brother. Like you're a part of that whole kind of like network deal with the Mexican spot there in Iowa City. So just kind of how
Yeah.
did that all start?
Yeah, so the way it kind of all started was, Patrick and I, we started up through the Gazette in Cedar Rapids.
Okay.
And that was like, because it was their idea initially, they kind of approached us and it was their idea. And then, but like once we were kind of, up and running and everything, it was when we started talking to Estella's down here and they actually built us like a studio. They set he was like, "Yo, we want to get into the game. Like, we'll set everything up. Like, we got video, whatever the case may be." So we had everything there,
Yeah.
um, like kind of built for us. And so we did 10 episodes through Cedar Rapids, and then we did our next however many we've done. I think
Hmm.
it's like we out 25, 30 now, maybe
Yeah.
like in Iowa City. And so we did all that through Estella's and the people there helping us. And then along with all of our other sponsors that we kind of get. But Estella's is the only one that actually like pitched in for the, making the studio. I mean, they rented out like there's like this office space in Iowa City and you just walk in and then you turn left and like the room is right there. There's like a couch, a couple
Yeah.
chairs, little
Oh, it's a
spot.
nice studio.
Yeah, no, it's big time. And then so you kind of sit out there and they always bring food for us. Every time we have a pod, they bring a whole dinner, like a whole stuff. You get tacos, nachos, if you want a burrito or just quesadilla, something you gotta order special, but he always
Yeah,
brings it what you want.
that's
And then
awesome.
yeah, we got the room. So we got the tables and we got the TV, the back like the fake brick. It's all fake. That's not
Oh,
real
okay.
brick.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it was fun, man. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I know, Patrick is gonna try to keep it going when I take off. So we'll see how he does with that. I'm excited for him.
Was this something that you kind of saw yourself doing, like, maybe in the past or anything like that? Like, did you see yourself maybe kind of doing kind of commentary, podcast, anything like that growing up?
Honestly, no. Like it wasn't like it wasn't my idea. Like I didn't plan it.
Yeah,
But once I started it, like I liked it, and I kind of thought like I could be good at
you're
it.
very good at it. You're very good
Yeah.
at
No, thank you. I
it. Yeah,
thought like Patrick and I together, like I thought we would be good at it just because I mean we have a good chemistry, obviously. And we kind of bounce off each other. Like he's pretty funny and witty and like he got the little side comments and I kind of try to keep it on schedule and keep moving along. Um but yeah, like I mean you learn so much too. Like the first couple like the crazy
yeah,
thing is you screw up at first, right? Like you screw up a ton and like it doesn't go smooth, or at least in your mind. Like my first episode with my dad, our first episode we did at the Stella studio with my dad,
yeah.
and it was me, Patrick, my dad. We had like all these notes, like this whole sheet, like all planned out, and the episode went like an hour 40. And it
Mm,
was like it was good, but bro, it was too long. And so like
that's yep.
we started planning less and less, and then now like after maybe like 2 or 3 episodes at the studio, everything we do is off the cuff. Like I
Yeah.
don't plan anything. We sit down and we no yeah,
I've
I
learned
mean
I've learned to just not do that because I
no,
had
you
the
can't.
same problems. I was like, I was getting good stuff. Like I was having good conversations, getting good, like, good content from them. But at the same time, I was like, no one's going to watch this 2 hour long podcast. And even if it is good stuff, it's just like, no one's going to wait through this whole thing. So I try to get less detailed into it and just try and let it be more of a natural conversation, I guess.
Yeah, it's way, dude. I'm telling you, it's better when you can just like you don't have to plan out. You just like we're
Kind
talking.
of
You know what I mean? Like
riff off of each other, that type of a
yeah, it
thing.
just
Yeah.
flows better. It just flows better, and that's what we do now. We just completely. I mean, like I said, there's no planning. You just. I mean, I'll have some things like oh, like let's talk about that. Like I'm curious, like whatever. But I just bring it up in conversation, and then Patrick will like interject. He doesn't really. He kind of
I
just
love his
go.
aspect of the pod. He's just he throws his comments out.
He doesn't. He says anything. He doesn't care
Oh, I know he doesn't.
anything.
So this most recent video you had Kate Martin on. I really liked that interview. Something I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about because you also went to the tournament. You were around the program the entire year. What kind of as an outsider, but as an insider at the same time, how was that whole just experience with the women's team this year?
Bro, it was fun. Like, I mean, because we're there. Like, we go to all their games. Like, we see them
Exactly.
every day, whatever. So it's like we kind of watch the whole season. But then when the tournament was going, like there was like I'm like, yo, like if she's hot like this. Like they really like there's nobody that they can't beat. Like I'm like going to the South Carolina game, they're like 14-point dogs. I'm like, yo, like
Mhm.
that's crazy.
We got to
Because
talk.
if
We got to talk about that game. I mean, just watching that, there's no way because if you're looking at it from a pure basketball standpoint, and as you know, like you're a high basketball IQ guy. You've been in college for a while. Like, if you lose a lot of times the rebound battle, you're not going to win the game. Like that's just kind of a lot of the times how it goes. And when you lose by like
especially doubled up.
when they double your rebounds, there's like almost no shot you're going to win a game. So I had no clue. It was just so funny. Like they would just, I mean, to their credit, I mean, obviously Iowa hit shots and South Carolina just wasn't making shots there at the end, but like they just kept getting rebounds and kept getting rebounds. And I'm like, fuck
Yeah.
hell, how are we winning this game?
Yeah. No, seriously, it was crazy. I mean, being there because those girls are big.
Big.
Like those girls are big. Like I mean, they make Monica look pretty
I
small, honestly.
I
Like, and
know.
Monica's big. Like,
Yeah.
and she's like, all American. But like, then you just got they just kept bringing people off the bench that are just massive and athletic and long. And I'm just like, yo, like, hopefully they keep missing because which they did.
They did.
But
And we couldn't miss. So that helped. I mean, everyone that was something that I could really notice. And that was like again, best basketball at the best time at the right time. Like everybody was playing their best version of themselves during the tournament. I mean, obviously Caitlin was doing her just crazy stuff, but Gabby was
yeah,
shooting the shit out of the
she
ball.
didn't miss
So was
for like a month.
Monica. Like
Yeah,
everyone was playing. Kate was playing really well. Like everyone was just doing their role to the maximum that they could. And obviously, I mean, they made it all the way. Man, I thought they were going to get that LSU game.
dude, so did I. I mean, I really thought they were gonna win, but it was fun either way.
Yeah,
Just looking back on it now, I mean, it was a great ride, and I mean, like kind of following them all year. Like we watched damn near every game, and so it's like
obviously.
we both like we're pretty close, like in terms of like programs. Like they come to our stuff, we go to their stuff, whatever. And
Yeah.
so it was a fun ride for sure.
I saw you guys talking about it on your interview with Kate, but is Caitlin basically just going to need full time security at this point coming up for this next season?
I think so. She's gonna need a guard. They had a guard with them in Seattle and Seattle and Dallas. They had like a police officer that would be with because like it's just needed. It's crazy. The
It's
fandom, man. It's
it's
like a different level.
insane, dude. It was so cool, obviously, because I mean, as an Iowa guy, like seeing that and just like kind of putting Iowa on the map and just doing her thing like that, it was so cool to get into when you guys moved to Iowa, because
Yeah.
obviously you didn't grow up like your childhood days in Iowa. When did you move? Was it like middle school? or was
Yeah,
it?
so I was in 6th grade. Patrick was in 4th.
Okay.
My sister was in second, or no, first maybe, one of the two, and
Yeah.
Jack was young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, because I remember hearing about you guys, because obviously we knew that your dad got the job and that he had two sons that were studs. So us Iowa boys were like, what do you mean? So I remember first
Yeah.
time ever seeing you, we were out in Rock Island at that at the sportsplex out there, and you were playing, and I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, he's not. All right. Um, but just kind of talk about just that experience, moving to Iowa, how that kind of felt, because I can assume, with, you had a little media behind you, and your brother had a little bit of attention behind you with your dad, and Iowa being such a bubble, kind of what was that experience like? Because I'm sure, there's people that were very nice and people that were very not nice. So just kind of what was that experience like?
Yeah, so like when we first moved here, we were still pretty young, like in
Mhm.
terms of like media, and plus social media like
Wasn't
really
that?
wasn't
Mhm.
as big like when we first, 10, what was it, like 13 years ago now, I think. Like I was, something like that, 12 years ago.
Mhm.
It wasn't as big of a deal. And so I was young, so 6th grade, you're just kind of a kid, like you're just playing whatever, and it's fun. But then, like, kind of once I started getting older and growing up, like 7th, 8th grade, freshman year of high school, that's when it really started to like all hit me. Like, this is like a real thing. People are going to be tuned
Yeah.
in because of the. It's you can be an Iowa fan, you can be an Iowa State fan, you can be a Drake fan, UNI fan, whatever. Like, people still like it's an Iowa State. Like, people are going to watch Iowa. You know what I mean? Like,
Under a microscope at all times.
yeah, like it's just different. It's just different. And I'm not saying like, like Jack Hoiberg and them aren't under the same thing, but it's different. And so you kind of always have to be like on your P's and Q's, and you got to be, I don't know, you can't really mess up, like, because people are always watching, but that's fine. It's kind of something that I just kind of grow up with, get used to. And I didn't, like I said, like I didn't really think about it like that until I really got older. But my parents did a good job, like explaining to me, like, hey, like, it's a little bit of a bigger deal here. There's going to be people that are going to be watching you because of dad, and that's just going to be the way it is. So, kind of just know that, but that doesn't mean they wanted me to like act all different or anything, because I really didn't. I was just kind of trying to be trying to be me, I guess, for the most part. But it's definitely, I guess, to answer your question long-windedly, that the answer is yes. Once I got to high school, would
Mhm.
be when you really start to notice the changes, like in terms of like opposing student sections and at games, like you hear people talking and that kind of thing. And
Oh,
we won state championship. I started as a freshman and we won state my freshman year. So, it's like, they expect something out of you. I don't know if I lived up to that, didn't. I think I averaged like 7 points a game. We were good. Like
yeah,
we won state, it was great.
exactly.
But it's kind of always something that people are going to be tuned in on, and they're going to have eyes on you for sure.
Something you said is you were always just going to be you at the end of the day, and that I know you did, because you through and through, kind of as myself, has always been a shit talker, and I've always appreciated that about you. Um, you
I
no
never
matter,
started. I never
I know you
started,
don't. I know
but
you
like,
don't.
yeah,
I'm not the same way either, because I'm not. I understand what that does, because I know what it does to me when someone starts talking shit. Like that
yeah.
gets me going. Oh, that gets me going. That gets me kind of riled up. I'm ready to play after that. So I usually don't like doing that, getting just giving motivation to other people. But you are someone who, you won't start it, but you'll finish it, type of a deal. And I've always
Yeah.
appreciated that about you. Where I guess where did that kind of come from? Is that just something you've kind of always been, or is that something that just kind of grown over the years?
Kind of. Dude, honestly, like I'm just like crazy competitive, like in everything. Like I'm just like ultra. Like I don't like to lose at, anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so like kind of just all throughout like my life, like when if somebody like starts talking or whatever, like I'm gonna get pissed. And
Mhm.
it's just like you know what I mean? Like when you're, especially when you're playing, like when you're in a game, like in a battle, like dude, like I remember when we were playing you guys, like someone on your team said something, like, and I just started going. Like, they probably
Yep.
didn't do all that, but like I was like, bro, like you just get you just get in that mode, like you're competing, like it's the heat of the battle, whatever.
Yep.
And like I said, like I'll never like just randomly start talking, like because I don't feel a need to. Like I'm gonna play hard regardless. But then if you start talking and I don't say anything back, I feel like I'm being like a bitch. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm like, yo, like I'm not just gonna let this dude.
No,
You know what I mean?
never,
Like I'm
never.
not just
Even
gonna let this dude talk like that. Like that's not what we're gonna do. And even if we lose or he gets the better of me, I'm not gonna like just bow down and just
no,
let him. So that's kind of always like be how I thought about it. Like I guess it's kind of always been a part of me. I mean, this is going back for forever. I mean, obviously my
the first
dad.
time I probably saw you, I think part of the reason I was like, oh yeah, he's nice is you scored. Someone, people were chirping at you, and you started talking shit back, and I was like, all right, okay, I like this kid. I like him.
I'm telling you, bro. I mean, like my parents are like my mom played at Notre Dame. Like my mom's maybe more competitive than my dad, which is crazy. Because I mean, everybody sees my dad. Like you know, grew up in Philly, played in Philly. Like you
10,
can't
that's
be
a
there.
big,
Like,
that's an environment right there, man.
dude, like
The
you can't
Palestra
like
is crazy.
exactly. Like you can't be soft there. So he's always instilled that in me. Like, and I mean, I don't think, I think a lot of people like maybe out here, like at first, like it's not as received as well. Like some people don't really do that, but it's just kind of like when you go, I mean, you've seen it like when you go play AAU in these tournaments, or like when you're playing in the Big Ten or playing, doesn't matter, like playing wherever, like there's gonna be dudes that talk. Like, it's just gonna be the way it is, and so you can't just back down because then it's like
Never.
they got you.
Exactly.
You know what I
A
mean?
lot of times too, it's just like they're just testing you just to see if you will just kind of just crumble from it a lot of times. So it's like
Yeah.
for me, I've always been someone that's just like I don't want to be known as someone who's just gonna like crumble under that type of stuff. So even if they did ended up getting the better of me, I'm coming right back at you with it for sure. You're kind of just like knowledge of the game, because this is something that I think goes unnoticed a lot of times, like as far as like the impact you have for your team. Because as someone who also like feels like their impact doesn't get seen a lot of times because it's not necessarily in the stat sheet.
Mhm.
Like I appreciate what you do on the court as far as like, you're not only running shit, being a leader, but also, you're passing, you're a good defender, you're rebounding, you're doing all the things that like I guess a basketball player should be doing, but you don't get the notoriety for it. So just kind of like where did
Sure.
that I mean, I guess did that change in college? Did you have to like embrace that kind of a role, or was that just something that came comfortable to you?
Yeah, no, definitely needed to embrace the role because I mean, like I've never like you go back to high school AAU, I mean 100% like I was a passer leader, but like I scored too.
Yeah.
It's not like I didn't shoot like but then there's games in college when I would be 0 for 0. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I just didn't shoot. That's not I'm not saying that's not an excuse. Like you need to be able to score the ball too. And I needed to be better than that at different times. And sometimes I was better with that. But with that being said, I wasn't going to be a dude who's like coming in here playing with Luca, playing with Wheezy, and like trying to get 20 shots a game. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to figure out how you can be like most successful. And that's just what I tried to do most of the time. And I could have been like there were times when like I lost my confidence or needed to be better, needed to be more aggressive, attacking, scoring. And I think people like saw some of that this year. There was games when I was good with that, and there was games I wasn't good with that. But it's just kind of something that it's like every player has more to them than what they might necessarily show in a given game. Like if I transferred and went somewhere else, like I might play completely differently than I played. It's not like, if we go to the well and start playing, I'm gonna be like way different than anybody sees me. Like I'm not just gonna do the same, you know what I mean? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
we go to the well, me and you go to the well, we're gonna cook whoever is there.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Like we're gonna destroy whoever is there. Whoever guards me, I'm gonna kill them. Like
Yeah.
is nobody like but that's not necessarily how you're gonna play like, in a one possession game against Illinois, like at home. You know what I mean? It's just
Exactly.
different.
Well,
So
also something
yeah.
that again that you it's hard to do, but something that I've admired because I had to kind of do the same thing with my role at Truman. When you play with really good players, like sometimes even though we are good players, like they should be taking those shots. Like at the end of those
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
I had an NBA player on my team for D2, which is crazy. So like that, we were like, yeah, he's going to be the guy for those shots. We had K McKnight, who you played with, who's just an absolute stud. Like we had a lot of really good talent on our team. That like, yes, I was good and I could do all those things, but it wasn't needed. And I felt like at times, I got thinking to myself, I was like, oh man, am I not as like good as I like, once was, or like, am I not as good as I think I am? But like, it kind of comes back to, you have a role and you got to play that role. But like you said, if we transfer someone else somewhere else, you never know how you're going to play.
Hmm. Exactly. Like I mean, you wonder like, I don't know, like what if I went somewhere else and just like, what if I went back to point guard? You know what I mean? Like, 'cause I always play point guard. You know that. I always played point guard growing up.
Same.
And
Didn't play it
yeah,
in college.
no, I play and like I did play point guard in college. Like I played it sporadically, as I'm
Okay.
sure. Like
Yeah,
you bring the
yeah,
ball up, but
yeah,
you're not the point guard. Like it's not like I started at the one, was getting the outlets. Like I was running the wing, or
yeah.
like a lot of. I mean, for most
You
of
were
my
playing the
college,
four a lot of the
I
time,
played the
weren't
four a
you? Yeah,
ton. Yeah, dude, I played the four so much,
yeah.
and so because we were played small and go 4-on-1, so it just kind of depended. But I always wonder, like, what if I did switch back to point guard? Like that would be pretty fun. You know what I
No.
mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was the same kind of thing. So I came in and we had Turner Scott, who I'm sure I
Yeah, I
think
know.
you
Yeah,
played, yeah.
yeah.
But he was a really good point guard, really smart, started before I was already there. So he was in at the one, and if I wanted to play, it was probably going to be at an off guard. So I kind of had to learn to play the two, play off the ball. And I got better at it. I got better being that. But like, I've always been just like I've been a point, like that's just what I am. I'm a point guard. And I
Mhm.
finally got to play it, one season, my actual senior year, not my COVID senior year. And basically led the conference in assists, but we went away from that. And I played the three this year. So uh,
Yeah. Are
that's,
you you're done, right?
yes, I am finally done with college. I graduated last year and then did like
Yeah.
masters this year.
Yep.
But yeah, so I signed with an agent and plans to go overseas. Plans to go overseas.
Where do you want to go?
I would hope to go like Western Europe, but honestly, I mean, I'm not, wasn't an All American, wasn't All Conference. I'm gonna take what I can get at this point. Just kind of
Yeah.
got to prove myself. First year is going to be rough, kind of wherever I'm going to go. So
Yeah.
just kind of got to get through that and just kind of prove myself. But that's something I kind of want to get into with you. So with you wrapping up your playing career, kind of what's next? What are your plans for the future? What are you kind of thinking about?
Yeah. So I want to try out the coaching thing. I want to see what I can do with that, and I want to try it in the NBA ranks. Like I want to try going to going to the league and trying to move my way up and do
Mhm.
whatever they ask me to do. Right, like coach and work guys out, rebound, wipe the floor if they
Yep,
need
you
me
got to do
to.
what you got to do, man.
Yeah, do what I got to do. And so I want to do that, and so I'm hoping that works out. I'm not against coming back to college, but I do want to try the pros and see how that goes. And so it's just kind of going to be that's my next step. I thought about continuing on playing, but it's just dude, I kept getting hurt, and
Hmm.
if I want to coach, like building up, like getting to a good place when you're younger is like it can really help because like I don't have a family right now, right? Like I don't have kids. I don't have like you don't need like a ton of money when you're 20,
Hmm.
24. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
old, but I'm not like that old.
Yeah, I know.
I can afford to make, low like not that much money and just kind of grind. And so that's what I want to try to do. And I'll still be able to go and play pickup, and that's pretty much what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be going live against these dudes, which is fun.
I was going to say that'll be a great experience. I do want to get into, I mean, with you wanting to get into those ranks, these NBA playoffs have just been in insane. So,
Bro,
I
gosh.
mean, it's so to me like even in the first round, it seemed like 3 to 4 of those matchups could have been Eastern Conference, Western Conference Finals type of matchups. So it's like
Yep.
just the parity this year is insane. I'm assuming you've watched the first game for each of the Western and Eastern Conference Finals. I
Yep.
guess first kind of want to get into that Boston Heat game last night. I guess what did you see that either the Heat really took advantage of, or just like that Boston didn't do well?
Well, I don't know how Tatum only gets 4 shots in the fourth. I mean, that was one thing but like also he was kind of turning the ball over too. So I mean, it goes both ways. But I mean, the way that Jimmy turns it on in the playoffs is just like,
I don't
I
get
mean,
it.
it's just dude, it's crazy. Like he just really like he just turns it up a notch, and like I mean, it's not just his scoring though. Like
No,
it's his passing, it's his rebounding. He had like 5 steals last night. You know what I mean? Like he just dominates the game.
I don't understand. Yeah, like he refuses to let anybody beat him. Like he's got such a like internal will thing about him that he just I don't know what it is, but he refuses to lose. And it's like I feel bad for, I mean, Spolstra, I feel bad for Jimmy, like I feel bad for a lot of
Yeah.
these on the team because I feel like they get mad disrespected. Like they don't get talked about at all. Like they've
No,
been
they really
like
don't.
they pop it up the other night. Like Spolster's been to 7 of the last 15 Eastern Conference Finals, and he hasn't won a Coach of the Year. And it's like, Jimmy, he doesn't get the type of love that he deserves. He always gets shit talked in the regular season because he doesn't play enough games or he doesn't play hard. But it's like, okay, if he's getting to the conference finals, getting to the finals every year, like really,
Right,
what's the issue? I don't get it.
right.
I from one thing that I guess I saw, I mean, they really did a good job of kind of getting it. Obviously, Tatum and Brown are going to get their buckets, but it's like they kind of forced other guys to shoot. And I guess
Yep.
Boston wasn't making shots, but what did you see from the Heat that they just kind of did well, taking advantage of Boston offensively, I guess?
I mean, I just think I mean, they're aggressive. They were pushing the ball in transition, like those outlet passes that Kevin Love throw. You know what I mean? Like those,
Insane,
dude,
yeah.
those are crazy. Like those are like some of my favorite parts of the game. But like they attacked right, like because Boston's going to switch so much, and so I mean, I thought they like went at that. You know, Bam was aggressive early, and then they play out of mismatches so well. Like if there's a mismatch and you got to send two or you beat your guy and you hit the help defender, like they move the ball, like because Jimmy's not a ball stopper. Like you know what I mean? Like if he's going, he's gonna attack, but he's gonna give it up. Like they're playing more so than like just watching, like 3 guys watching and 2 guys
Yeah.
playing. Like they're all 5 involved. Like they really just play well together. And whether they're running pick and roll, whether in transition, whether they're gonna ISO, they're getting a switch, whatever. The way they attack their matchups, like there's always a plan to everything they're doing. They really don't have many wasted possessions. I mean,
No.
they imagine if they didn't have the turnovers they had last night too, because they had some turnovers. So like if they're
Well,
getting shots on all those possessions, like you know what I mean? It's crazy.
with the third quarter they had, you think that they should have just kind of packed that game away and should have just, they should have won that by a double digit kind of a thing. But it's like, yeah, like you said, the turnovers kept Boston in it. And obviously,
Mhm.
when you have a superstar like Tatum, and I would honestly almost put Brown at that level. I don't, he gets mad.
Brown's in there. He's in there.
He's mad disrespected as far as
I don't
his,
know why he gets disrespected the way he does. He's so
it's like
good.
he averages 27 a game. And it's like there's dudes on like the best player on dudes teams who don't even average that. And I don't get the non-love for Jaylen Brown, but it's like, yeah, I guess prediction wise, where do you see this series going? I obviously Boston is like the team this year and they're playing really well, but it's like I I went to one of the games for the Boston Heat last year. Obviously, it came down to Jimmy's three. Like
Yeah.
these teams, I don't know what it is. I feel like the Heat kind of have Boston's number. Just kind of where do you see the series going?
Well, dude, I don't understand why the Celtics can't win at home. Like, it makes no sense. Like the whole time, the whole playoffs, like they're like 500 at home. It's
I
like,
know.
okay, well, how are you supposed to count on them if they can't win at home? But then they go and win on the road. Like they win game 6, like I picked them against the Sixers, but then they lose,
At home.
they
Yep.
they
Game
lose at
five.
home and it's like, yo,
Yep.
like okay, game 6, like now I gotta take the well, no, the Celtics, like Tatum's like, nah, we're winning this. So then, you know what I mean? It's crazy. And I
Yep.
don't understand what their deal is with that.
I did the same thing. I was like, yep, it's Boston. Like I was like, Joel and James Harden, both really good players, but I don't think they perform in the playoffs. I was like, I just feel like Boston's the better all around team. They'll get it done. And game 5 happened. I'm like, oh shit. Like going back
Yeah,
to Philly, like Philly's probably gonna get this done. And then Tatum
right.
goes 1 for 14 and then hits 12 straight points and to end the game. It's like, okay, whatever, man. I don't get it.
Exactly. Dude, it makes no sense. So, like, I would still lean Boston because I just think they're better.
Hmm.
Like, you look at their roster, you look at their, like,
Top to
I don't know,
bottom.
like top to bottom, like the bench, the guys that can come, like, you bring in Brogdon and you can come with White, like, Rob Williams, Horford, like Grant Williams.
Grant Williams doesn't even play for him
He
anymore.
doesn't, dude, he's
He's
not
not even in the
even,
rotation. Like, and
no,
he was like a double-digit scorer in the playoffs last year. So it's like
exactly.
they are deep as all get out.
Because like let's say they win, right? Let's say they beat the Heat. Like Grant Williams is then going to be in the rotation if they play the Lakers because he's going to guard Braun.
Has to be.
So like at least I'm assuming maybe they'll stick with like I mean Tatum's a really good defender too, and
Yeah.
so is Brown. Like they got a bunch of guys who can guard, but
But it's
you
also
just
like you
talk,
don't want to put all of that on Tatum. Like you need him to score, you need him to be that guy offensively. So it's
yeah,
like you also don't want him exerting all that stuff defensively on Braun. So it's like bringing a guy in like Grant Williams can alleviate that from Tatum at least.
right, right. So I mean, dude, I don't know. I think the Celtics are better. Even after game one, I still think they're going to win the series because even though they're losing at home, they've showed that they can easily win on the road too. Like the
Yeah.
road's not a problem. And the Heat, I mean, the Heat lost in the play-in to the Hawks
Yep.
at home, so it's not like the Heat are,
Um,
unbeatable
exactly.
at home. So I would still lean Boston just because I really do think they're better. But I mean, they're making me nervous. Like
That is
I don't know. I don't
that is
know.
for sure. Uh Another thing. So obviously we were just talking about Braun. So I mean, game 1 of that Western Conference Finals was insane. Just watching those two, I mean, AD, LeBron, Jamal. I mean, everyone was kind of hooping in that game. But like, I guess one thing I really want to get into, we don't have crazy time left on this video, but Nikola Jokic, man, like what it like I don't get it. How is he I do, but I don't understand how he's so effective out there.
He's unreal. Like I mean, right now, nobody's better than him. Like they're just not. Like he's just dominant in every way.
And not
I
only
mean,
dominant, but just like ultra efficient. Like he shoots like
yeah,
60% from the field, and it's like I don't. But then has 12 assists, 30 rebounds, and 30 points, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? I don't
literally,
understand what is happening. Um,
dude, he's so good. He's just so good.
I guess looking at that series, do you see the Nuggets kind of keeping that shooting going, or like do you? I mean, KCP having a 20-point game,
Mhm.
other bench guys stepping up big for them. Bruce Brown had a big game. Um, do you see that kind of sticking for them, or do you think that the Lakers kind of started figuring stuff out there in the second half and they're kind of can make good adjustments going in for the rest of the series?
Dude, again, like another series where I picked the Nuggets like initially, and I like. I mean, I'm a LeBron fan, but I just think the Nuggets. I think they're gonna win. Like I think it's their year. Like Jokic is playing at an unreal level. Like Jamal Murray's played so well. Like he's back. I mean, talk about another team that has a lot of guys that can hurt you. I mean,
Deep.
MPJ can go for 25 like any night. I mean, Bruce Brown comes in and plays his ass off in game one. KCP can hit. He can hit 7 threes in a game. You know what I mean? So you go down the line there. Talk about them, but then it's like you watch the second half, the last couple quarters of the game one, and you're like, oh, the Lakers look pretty good. But I don't know if AD is getting 40 again. I just don't. He's been so inconsistent, like like you know what I mean? Like if he doesn't go off in game one, like if he
No,
doesn't get 40,
that's a 30 ball. It was a 30 ball. Like they
dude,
were
they're gonna lose by 30. They're
yeah,
gonna lose
they
by
were
30.
getting beat by 20 with like halfway through the third quarter. Like
Yeah.
I thought they were about to pack it in. And then Reeves starts hitting some shots, that type of thing, and it comes back in and then they keep playing. But it was like no, that game easily could have went to a 30 ball quick.
Yeah, because it was dude, it was 15-20, like you said, and like the Lakers, they were hitting some shots they didn't need to hit.
No,
Like, you know what I mean? Like
no.
they didn't need to go. I mean, they were going in, but like they didn't need to. So it's like if those don't drop, I mean, you never know. Like the Nuggets might really because I don't think the Lakers can guard the Nuggets. Maybe they can. Maybe they'll completely switch out the game plan, and which I mean they're gonna have to. Jokic just destroyed everything that they
This
tried
was
to
something
do.
I was talking about with my buddies about like who would I'd rather have the Lakers play coming into this series. And I honestly, even though it sounds crazy, I honestly wanted them to play Phoenix more because I felt that the Nuggets took a lot more advantage of what the Lakers do well. Like the Nuggets are just better at doing that than the Lakers are. Like they're bigger, they take advantage of being bigger, but yet they have those scores, they have the shooters that the Lakers don't have. I
Right.
felt with the amount of twos that the Phoenix takes, I just felt like numbers wise, they could kind of keep it close because all the Lakers do is shoot mid range and fucking right at the hoop. So it's like, okay, if numbers wise, I felt like they can match up better with Phoenix. But yeah, the Nuggets, I just feel like too good with how, I mean, unless something crazy happens, I feel like Jokic and just those other guys are just too good for the Lakers, unfortunately. I'm a big Bron guy, so I hate saying that.
Yeah. It's gonna be a great series. I mean, like again, like I think the Nuggets are gonna win, but like, I mean, you never know, right? Like
You can't,
crazier
I
stuff.
mean,
You can't.
LeBron's 10-1 in conference finals, so it's like it's kind of hard to count against him,
Exactly.
I guess, at the same time. So it's I don't
Exactly.
so we have less than a minute here. I want to thank you, man. Obviously this was short, but I thought we had a good conversation. I appreciated catching up with you and just kind of learning more about you. Appreciate you joining the channel. Is there anything that you'd want? We got to cut off short there, but I would like to thank our guest this week, Connor McCaffery, for coming on and joining me. We got into a lot of great topics. I hope you guys enjoyed the video or listening to the episode, but just want to remind you guys to please like, subscribe, comment, anything. Just doing all those sorts of things really helps grow the channel. So I really appreciate it. If you're listening on the audio versions, give it a follow on whatever platform you're on. Just keep tuning in, turn on the post notifications so you know when the new uploads are up. But with all that being said, I just want to again thank you for all the support. Thank you guys for tuning in to every episode. Continue to do so, please. It helps, helps me stay motivated to keep doing it. So that's going to do it for this week's episode. Just want to remind you guys to keep rising, to keep prospering, and to keep pushing. Thank you. Have a good one.